Good morning, GTS retail partners, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the Retailer to Publisher webinar. I'm Scott Bohr, your category manager for gaming specialty products. That includes role-playing games, miniature games, and gaming accessories. And normally you'd see Scott Morris today, but he's out on personal business and asked me to step in to help out. And I'm happy to do so to make sure that you guys get the webinar for the week and have the ability to talk to our publishing partners about some of the projects that they're working on. And if you're not familiar with Zoom or how it works, I want to just give you a brief rundown on how you can interact with Kyle and Todd from AEG today. If you roll your mouse over your screen, you'll see that a bar appears at the bottom. If you're on a PC, if you're on a phone, it should be the three little dots up in the corner. And if you click on that, you'll see that there's a chat button. Click on the chat button, that'll open a window on the right-hand side of your screen on PC, and then you can start typing in messages there. You'll notice that there's two options for who you can communicate with. You can either send that message to all panelists, which is myself, Kyle, and Todd, or you can send it to all panelists and attendees, which is everyone who's on the call today. They'd all be able to see it. So you can pick the proper audience for your message and go ahead and do that. I'll be monitoring the chat, so if a question that's pertinent to what's being discussed comes up, I may be able to interrupt Kyle and Todd to discuss that particular topic, or we may hold that question to the end. So if you don't see your question answered right away, it's because we're just holding it to the end of the conversation. So without any further ado, I do want to go ahead and hand the virtual microphone over to Kyle and Todd, Kyle Nunn and Todd Rowland from AEG, to talk to us today about two of their upcoming games, Mariposas and Truffle Shuffle.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I'm Todd, and of course, Kyle's with me. We do have these two awesome titles coming out. Their street date is August 28th. That's for both of them. You have probably heard of them by now, but if not, we will give a little overview of each. I'll go ahead and start with Mariposas. So Mariposas is the next release from award-winning designer Elizabeth Hargraves, who I'm sure you all well know from Wingspan. This is her follow-up release. It's a slightly different game than Wingspan. In this game, instead of birds, you're with butterflies. So you're still in the air one way or the other. But in this game, you're going to play as butterflies that are completing their migratory pattern up the eastern seaboard of North America. Now, we know they go both ways, but the board in this one focuses on the eastern side. They begin in Mexico. And then as you move them across the board on your turns by playing cards that allow movement, you're going to be picking up flower tokens, which is basically like pollen. And by collecting these flower tokens, you're ultimately going to be able to breed future generations of butterflies. Now, along the route, just like in real life, some cities and places have set up special areas to promote the monarchs coming there and stopping on their way to feed and things like that. So there are those locations on the board. When you stop there, if you have the proper tokens, you can breed another generation of butterfly. And that's very important because over the course of the migration, the butterflies who leave from Mexico will not be the same ones who return, which is also true in real life. In fact, it's several generations that make this trip up to even as far into Canada sometimes, and then all the way back to Mexico. So you play over several seasons. You earn points in different ways. Every game, there's going to be different ways that come up on these cards that are dealt to earn points. So for instance, at the end of spring, if you have butterflies north of Atlanta and east of, say, El Paso, you will get points for each of those butterflies. In another situation, it may be that every butterfly that you have on a red colored hex on the board will earn you. So there's all sorts of different strategies to earn points along the way. Ultimately, a lot of your points are going to come from getting your butterflies back to Mexico, to the original place where they began. And it can be possible to not make it, depending on what comes up in your cards. Your butterflies may not make it. So there's a little bit of a push your luck element, because the farther north you go, the more pollen there is, the more chances to earn points there are. But if you wait too late to turn around and start heading back, your fourth generation, which is your final generation, may not make it, and you're going to miss out on some big points. So like I say, it's true to nature. It's what actually happens when the monarchs complete their migration pattern. And it's really fun because with the changing ways to score points, you see different strategies each game, and the players will all be trying different things to get the most out of it. And yeah, so that's Mariposas. It'll be out August 28th, and we're just very excited about it. We can't wait to get it out there. We've got a lot planned. Elizabeth is about to start going and doing interviews with different influencers. We've got designer diaries that'll be going up on Board Game Geek. We've already begun an ad campaign online on Board Game Geek in different places that right now the ads have the caterpillar, and in a couple of weeks it's going to become the cocoon or the chrysalis, and then in the final 2 weeks before launch the ads will have the butterflies, and we'll be pushing it very heavily. So we want everybody to come see all of y'all or order from you on the 28th of August to be able to get Mariposas. And so Kyle, why don't you tell them about some chocolate?
So the game I'm talking about is drastically different from what you just heard. Truffle Shuffle is from the creators of Point Salad. It is a game about chocolates, and it's a set collection game. There are 4 suits of chocolate, which are delicious, just for the record. And as you do set collection, you're trying to get rarer and rarer sets. So you have 1 through 5, if I'm not mistaken, and you want to collect set of pairs. 5 5s is actually 5 5s of the same suit is the most points you can get in the entire game. But each suit also has special abilities on cards that you have. So like the pink set will actually allow you to duplicate a card of the same type. There's other ones that let you change the color. There's other ones that let you change the number. There's tons of different little variability, but everything is set up in a pyramid, and you're drafting cards from the pyramid to play to try to collect your sets. And you can you can turn your sets in for points whenever you want to, but once you complete that pyramid, the round ends. You discard down to 2 cards, and then you go back, restack the pyramid, and play again. And it's played over several rounds. It's very quick. It's very easy to learn. We sat down to play it when the developer demoed it for me, and it was a matter of, oh, you'll figure it out before the end of the first round. And 4 or 5 turns into the game, I played a whole selection for 5 5s for the maximum points, and he went, oh no, you've already got it. It's fine. So it's really easy to learn. It's a lot of fun. Of these 2 releases, obviously, this one has gotten less attention. It's just kind of overshadowed by Mariposas, but I will tell everybody that this game is really good, really cute, really fun, and don't sleep on it. I think a lot of people are just not paying much attention to it, and it is really solid.
Yeah, it's a good basic family game, good simple card game, kind of in that Point Salad vein, because it came from the same people. And we've really enjoyed it. It's just one you can play with your family. So, Kyle, we had a question in the chat, which I was going to have you address real quick. They're asking, was there going to be an early release for Mariposas, or was that scrapped due to the world being on fire?
Yes, it was scrapped due to the world being on fire. So there was kind of a 2-pronged problem there. With Gen Con being the way it was and COVID. The shipment did not get out of China in time. So we elected not to air freight it out. On top of, when we made this decision, a lot of retailers were not open or didn't appear like they were going to be back in normal sorts by the time. So we did not want to do our big game night promotion into the world being on fire. So we scrapped all of it. It has a single release date of August 28th.
Okay. And getting back to some of the questions that have come up, there was a question. This is from Brian Taylor. Says, are there any marketing materials for Mariposas? Todd did answer it in the chat, but it only went to the panelists. So I recopied it and put that back into the chat. So
thank you.
Attendees can also see it. But basically, the answer was that there are electronic assets. Well, you know what, Todd, why don't you go ahead and answer that?
Yes, we maintain a Dropbox of marketing assets for all of our titles, and I posted the link in there, and thank you, Scott, for reposting it in the proper way. And if you go visit that folder, you'll see subfolders for each of the games. And of course, Mariposas and Truffle Shuffle are in there. Some newer ones like that are still being populated with assets as we get them completed. But you can go in, you can find all sorts of master art, box shots, 3D renders, boards, rule books, sell sheets, all different types of stuff. Talking points, even things like that. And you're welcome to those. You can create your own things with them if you want to make, social media ads, or some stores have even used them to make, little local posters or flyers or things that they use in their own marketing materials. And you are perfectly welcome to make use of anything within that folder. And if you, like I say, if you do go in, they're in alphabetical order. You can you can find Mariposas, you can find Truffle Shuffle, and all the others as well.
Great. And that link is now in the chat. So if you have a question about that, you can access that there. And then
I just dropped another link into the chat. The AEG Product Lists is a list that I maintain on a daily basis. It has all of our upcoming products, their release dates. It has all of our in stocks, out of stocks, and low stocks. So if you're ever curious about the status of a product and whether you should be able to get it or not, it'll be on that list.
Excellent. And then the next question from Brian is, are we still guaranteed to get all of our pre-order copies as promised with the early release? So will retailers still be getting?
Yes. All of the distributors are getting the guaranteed pre-orders, and then they will distribute that from there.
Excellent.
But we have no supply issues. It was just a timing issue.
Excellent. Okay, just looking here to see if there's any other. There is one that says, this is an honest question, but I don't know, was Jeff Cohen planned to be there for the release plans at Gen Con for Truffle Shuffle? That's, the actor from Goonies.
Yes, if we could have afforded his agent, right, we would have gotten him there. And, and of course that also would require Gen Con as well.
All right, and then this question from Derek. Just for the sake of information, can you talk about what exactly happened with the first Kickstarter for Mariposas?
I'm afraid you may be confusing a different game, Derek. We did not do a Kickstarter for Mariposas.
Yeah, I didn't recall one being out there on that, so I don't know if maybe that's a Wingspan question, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Perhaps it's a different title. I'm not sure.
All right, no worries. So retailers, if you do have any other questions for Kyle and Todd, please feel free to go ahead and put those questions into the chat. We're happy to take any questions and answer what can be answered. This again is August the 28th release for both of these titles, if I remember right, Mariposas and Truffle Shuffle. Both of the not the UPC, but the SKU numbers are in the chat window there. I haven't had a chance to play Mariposas yet, but I have played Wingspan, and that's one talented designer, making some excellent games. And the Mariposas looks like a beautiful game, so I'm sure it's going to be a big hit for you guys, make a big splash.
We're hoping so, and Elizabeth has definitely gotten a lot of allocates lately, and well deserved. She's been awesome to work with, and we're very, very excited about this. The funny thing is, we had signed this before Wingspan came out, so she had already signed it onto us, so we had no idea that it was going to become such a huge thing. But of course, we're very happy. I mean, we're happy for Jamie, of course, from how well they've done, and we're also very happy for what it's letting us draft into, with all of the excitement over her incredible skill as a game designer and how popular she is. And so we are going to, like I said, we're going to be kicking up a lot more starting now with interviews and marketing and things like that. Although the excitement for it is already there. I mean, we've already seen it in orders and in, comments online and things of that nature. So we're very excited.
Excellent. All right. Well, I don't see any additional questions on the products. I think you guys have covered it well, and looks good. Very excited about the partnership and about the ability, about the steps that AEG has taken to really kind of plant their flag and stand by their products, and we're really excited about that. So want to say thank you for your time, Kyle and Todd. It was a short one today, but we appreciate you guys being here and telling us more about your products coming up. And retailers, we want to thank you guys so much for being here today. If there aren't any other questions, we want to make sure that we honor our commitments here and return as much of your day back to you as possible. So with that, thank you guys again. Any final words from Kyle or Todd?
I'll just say for me, I just appreciate all of the retailers. I know it's been incredibly difficult the last few months and all that's been going on, but we're just very thankful for everyone working as hard as they can. And we're hoping that this is going to help you all as much as it helps us, getting these games out there. We are still releasing new things. I was going to put a quick plug in for Cat Lady Box of Treats, which is our expansion to Cat Lady, which has been one of our popular ones over the last few years. That is available now. Really cute addition. It actually allows solo play as well, which is always a good thing in times like this. And definitely check that out too.
Excellent. Cat Lady Box of Treats as an expansion to the popular Cat Lady game. So excellent. Thank you guys very much. Kyle, any last words?
Yeah, so I just wanted to put a plug out there for our P3 orders. With Mariposas, specifically, if you did your P3 orders, you got your guaranteed orders that are going to come to you. After that, it's a huge question mark because we are 100% sold out of the first print run. And just due to the world being on fire, we actually haven't done much with that program lately, but expect to start seeing it come back as we get back to whatever the new normalcy is. So just keep an eye out, and whenever we can do it again, we will be bringing that back to the table for retailers to lock in some pre-orders.
For those who may not be familiar with the P3 program, do you just want to give a brief description of what that program entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So P3 is a program that we built specifically to allow retailers to jump in on a game early in the process. So what we do is we give you as much information as we have when we go to print a title, and it's done prior to us actually pulling the lever to tell the factory how many that we want, and you can get your pre-orders in, and as long as you order a case or more, most of the time there is a maximum, but as long as you order a case or more, we will guarantee that stock will be available for you when it gets to your distributor, barring any containers falling off into the ocean, ships going down, things like that. But we make sure that there's enough product heading to there for you. And then when the time comes, we ask the distributors to fill those orders before they fill anything else. And it's a very easy way to lock in. If you know you're going to sell product, you can just go ahead and say how many you want, and you just get to avoid allocations.
Great. And then Tabitha asks, will our holiday P3 orders still be filled?
Yes, those will still be filled. I do not believe there are any stock issues with the things that we place P3 orders for. When we got those, basically the holiday P3 gave us a really good idea of what we needed to print to make sure we had in stock through the holidays. But yes, we will make sure that there's product heading out to the distributors. So just make sure those head out to you around September. And if you have any problems getting those orders, just because it's a back order instead of like us shipping product immediately, if you have any problems, just reach out to your distributor or us and we'll get it handled.
Great. And then Sean says, honestly, I wish all publishers offered a similar program to P3. So often small shops get shorted on product even when placing pre-orders immediately upon announcement. So well done on AEG's part to help alleviate some of those difficulties that retailers face when product is allocated or short shipped by publishers, distributors. It happens to all of us at some point. So we appreciate the effort that AEG has gone through to help prevent some of that. And then there's a question from Jason about P3 as well. Why is there a difference between P3 and Alpha Store programs like Dead Reckoning and being Alpha program?
So the Alpha Store program is specifically a program that is designed to let us sell games that are not friendly to the distribution retailer model. So effectively, Dead Reckoning has such a large production cost, which is why we took it to Kickstarter instead of through the normal channels. So games, our Kickstarter games, we have sold into distribution several times. We have only had, I can only think of one in recent history that has actually sold well, but the margins still don't make any sense. Like we're effectively giving those games away just to be supportive. And so after talking to a lot of our partners, Scott Morris was one of the ones that I talked to about it specifically. It's like, let's not do that through the normal channels, and let's just open up a program to where it makes sense for us and retailers, and we can sell these in at the proper margins for everybody involved. But the P3 program is, so just because P3 does not cover Kickstarter effectively is the answer to that question.
Okay.
Long story
short, P3 does not do Kickstarter.
So just to clarify, games that are in the Alpha program don't go into distribution. They only go, they're a direct to retailer.
So Alpha stores can order direct from us. It is you can get promos and Kickstarter exclusives direct from the Alpha Store program. But there will only be, Kickstarter games will only be going through the Alpha Store program moving forward, as long as that is a successful program. We're kind of testing the waters with Dead Reckoning.
Okay. And if people do want to find out more about the Alpha Store program, is there a landing page for them to go to?
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, I'm going to link that.
I've got it right here.
There we go.
Are you ready to get? There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so there is a link now in the chat. A further follow-up question on that is, does that mean you will not use Kickstarter anymore to make games? You'll be doing it through the Alpha program. I'm not sure if that's...
No, that to clarify, Manuel, what we're saying is there are games that we make for the traditional distribution retail channel that are the majority of what we make. Games like Mariposas, Truffle Shuffle, Smash Up, Mystic Veil, you name it. All these games that we make that that are what I would consider to be a standard size retail release. Ones we have coming up like Calico and Cubitos and other titles along those lines. When we want to do something that's a little wild and out there and big and heavy, a big giant type thing like Edge of Darkness or Dead Reckoning, which we're doing now, which have incredibly high price points.
Thunderstone Quest.
What's it? Thunderstone Quest.
Thunderstone Quest.
You have really high price points, really high shipping costs because there's so much material, pretty low, not terribly good margins, as Kyle said, if it goes through. And in general, seem to only work for like some edge case stores. We are doing those via Kickstarter because, some of our designers we work with, like for instance, John D. Clare, right? John D. Clare has made so many titles for us: Mystic Veil, Space Base, Ecos, all these awesome, successful retail titles. He also has these big, crazy idea games that he comes up with, and we want to be able to support him in those too. But we know those just aren't going to be viable via the normal channel for us, and probably not a terribly great margin down the road either. So we do those via Kickstarter. But there's almost I would say it's almost a clear delineation of the type of game we're going to do that for versus the continued effort. I mean, we have still 8, 9, 10 titles coming out just for retail. So we're still trying to support both. I saw one other question, and I'll just go ahead and mention it, Scott. Mark Owen asked, are we locked out of this product? Can we still order these? I'm assuming, Mark, you were talking about Mariposas? And if so, then yes, you definitely can. Our P3 for that is closed, but you still can. Oh, and Truffle Shuffle. Yes, you can still get them through your normal distribution orders, but we can't guarantee a minimal amount you'll get at the beginning as had you done them via the P3 order. That's basically what that is, as Kyle mentioned, being able to say you will get this amount on release no matter what. Now it's up to the normal flow of allocation and availability.
Yeah, Mark, I would go ahead and contact your GTS sales rep and see if they can help lock down some product for you, just to make sure that we get that in for you. Again, it won't be part of the P3 guaranteed program, but if there is available product on these two, we'd be happy to get that. Make sure that you're in for it. Great. Let's see. Understand how that may help building financially. Many retailers can't sell games that were on Kickstarter, so it's pretty bad for us to want to carry these games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we understand that, Manuel. That was kind of what I was getting at with the viability of it. The reason we have the Alpha Store program is kind of, as I mentioned, for some of those edge case stores who do want to carry them, who do have the ability to do that. We do make it available. And that's kind of what it is more of just an availability thing. Wouldn't you agree, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. It's these games are not targeted for the distribution retailer model. They are targeted to be, ultimately what you would call overproduced a bit. So they have all the bells and whistles. All the bells and whistles, the really high production cost. Like just for Edge of Darkness, for example, the giant plastic tower that comes in it. All of the dual-sided clear cards, which those clear cards are super expensive to produce. And then you just go to printing on both sides and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's more expensive than we thought it would be. So we go down this entire checkbox of things that say, well, we can't make this game for anything less than $200. So that is the place where we can't, it is over the top. It is an edge case where only certain retailers are going to carry it. And that's the reason the Alpha Store program is there, is so that they can still carry it if they want to, but we don't have it available through the distribution model because of shipping and cost concerns.
Yeah, and AEG is doing a fantastic job of supporting the retailers with things like the P3 program, excellent titles, a more curated list of products. So, you know, I think on balance, AEG is doing a great job for the full retail and distribution channel market. I don't think this this outlier program, the Alpha program, is something that's taking away from what you guys are doing for the retailer. So we appreciate everything that you're doing. We appreciate the Mariposas and Truffle Shuffle and your time today. So any other questions from retailers? If you got them, go ahead and launch them in. And then otherwise, I think we'll go back to saying goodbye. So I appreciate your time here. Thank you guys for being on. Thank you for taking. Well, somebody did put in another question. For the games that are expensive, is that any way to get us stores? Is there any way to get us? It sounds like he's asking for demo copies. Tell customers that the reason we have demo games is for customers who are scared by high price tags. So do you have a demo program? Are we part of a demo program with AEG at this point?
Yeah, we have a demo program through all of our standard releases. Yes, it's 25% of MSRP.
And is that handled direct through you, or is that
it's handled through all of our distributors?
Okay, great.
So if you reach out to your GTS rep, you should absolutely get a copy.
Okay, great. Yeah, we'll make sure that we get that information out there. So yes, demo program available through GTS. All right. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate you being here, Kyle and Todd. And thank you, retailers, once again for being here. We'll return the rest of your day to you. Have a great rest of your day and take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.